Hey guys, Jonathan was that here for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show. How is it going? Well, the first race of the 2015 Xfinity Series is in the books. The Alert Today Florida 300. We have a lot to get to, so let's get to it. This is going to be the recap, and this recap is going to have a bit of a rant in it too. And if you watch the race, if you've already heard, you probably know kind of what I'm going to rant about. But if you don't, then just stay tuned. We didn't really have much to talk about in the very beginning. It was a pretty clean race in the beginning. A lot of fun racing, and in the beginning of the race, if you were a fan of racing, you thoroughly enjoyed it. If you like a wreck fest and you're one of the people that watches racing for the wrecks, then you still got your time, but it took a little while for you to get there. Uh, Daytona is just a fun track. I love restricted play. I said it on Twitter. I love restricted plate racing, and I love the first race of the year. You know, you get people like Dale Jr., who started dead last, and within 3 laps, is up to 21st. Daniel Suarez, he moved up quickly. Ty Dillon moved up quickly. It doesn't matter where you start at Daytona. You can be 30th 1 lap in Daytona and be second the next. It's just how Daytona works, and that is absolutely what I love about restrictor plate racing. A lot of trading back and forth with the lead. Austin, or Ty Dillon was up there, and Chris Buescher was up there, and Kyle Busch, and Darrell Wallace. Just a ton of great talent up there. Buescher led early. Ton of trash on his grill, but it turned out to not be an issue. The racing just it continued to be fun. And it was fun, like I said, for Daniel Suarez. And then his fun kind of went away after that. We went into our first green flag pit stops. Pit road was just an absolute mess with the new rules, trying to figure out the new rules that they have for pit stops, and Dale Jr. gets in trouble for that later in the race, so we'll get to that in just a minute. But it was a lot of tire sliding and a lot of just calamity, if you will, including for Daniel Suarez, who was running well. However, then he ended up he missed pit road. He slid through his pit, and when he did that, he slid his tires, which wasn't good either. He was luckily for him, he was able to make it back around and come around and pit, but then he, of course, lost a lot of time doing that, and then after his pit stop, he almost stalled it on pit road, so a little more time gone there. Finally, with 40 laps to go, we get our first caution, and it is from Chris Cockrum during a pit stop, as Cockrum had a tire get away, so they bring out the caution for that. We went green with 35 laps to go. Dale Jr. shortly thereafter had to make an unscheduled pit stop for what we believe was a tire issue, and then he was penalized for one of NASCAR's new pit rules. You cannot pass through too many pit stalls. The rule is 3 is what NASCAR deems acceptable. Dale Jr. passed through 4, and due to that, he took a penalty. So, with 28 laps to go, we had our first big one with Suarez. Kyle Larson gets into Suarez. Kyle Larson and Suarez were drafting, and Suarez was having a hard time staying still, and Kyle Larson just got into the corner of him and spun Suarez in front of a good majority of the field. Not a and it was just a lot of situations where people just had nowhere to go. Defending champion of this race, Regan Smith, had nowhere to go. He ended up getting hit in the side pretty hard and actually flipped over. His wife is due to go into labor at any time now, so hopefully for him and for her that did not take place. And hopefully it doesn't take place tomorrow either, as Regan Smith is now going to be in the Daytona 500 for Kurt Busch. Side note, for those of you who are following that story, Kurt Busch lost his initial appeal today of his suspension. He has another appeal tonight. It's his final appeal, so NASCAR could still reverse the decision. I don't foresee that happening. Regan Smith will be in the car for the Daytona 500. Also involved in the big one, a lot of cars. Chad Boat, Justin Marks, Ryan Sieg, defending now Xfinity champion, Chase Elliott, 11 other, and some others, 11 total, were involved in that wreck. And then Slade right out the red flag, which was interesting. Austin Dillon was stopped. Red flag, you stop. Mike Wallace, either whether it be Kenny Wallace had speculated on Twitter that maybe it was a hung throttle. I don't know that we ever found out for sure. But Mike Wallace just came in and barreled right into the back of Austin Dillon, gave Austin Dillon some damage. So, interesting development there. We finally go back green with 21 to go, 40-minute red flag. We don't race very long until some bear bond flies off the car of Chase Elliott that he had put on from the prior wreck, and so the caution flies. For that, we go back green then with 14 to go. With 9 to go, we had the big one. Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, and Eric Jones, Kyle Busch, Elliott Sadler, J.J. Yaley, Darrell Wallace, among others. And of course, the big thing here was Kyle Busch, which really we'll talk about in just a second. Basically, it was a lot like the Suarez accident, where Kyle Busch just got into the back of Eric Jones trying to draft him, and Eric Jones was running, I believe, third at the time, so it was in front of most of the field. Kyle Busch just he made it through, and then he just kind of lost control of his car, slid through, slid into the infield, slammed head on into a concrete wall where there was no safer barrier. Ding, ding, ding. That's where my rant's going to be here in just a minute. And Kyle Busch was removed. It was, like I said, he smashed hard into a concrete wall. They think about at least 90 miles per hour. So he was put in an ambulance. As of recording this, I don't have much of an update on him other than just the fact that he is alert. We saw that on TV, that he was alert, and that he was transported to a local hospital for further evaluation. But stay tuned to my Twitter or Facebook, and if I get any updates, I will be sure to let you know on that. And if I don't, then hopefully he will either be racing the Daytona 500 tomorrow, or if he's not, hopefully I have an update during the Daytona 500 recap video. Definitely hoping that he is alright. So, yeah, sorry, spaced out there for a second. So we go back racing, and the racing was just, I can't do it any justice. I really can't. The racing was good. If you missed it, if you're a fan of actual racing, you missed some good racing, some good hard racing. NASCAR, I think, did a good thing after the white flag lap. A couple of cars got together, spun through the infield. NASCAR did not throw the caution because they didn't deem it would be a problem. They let him continue on because, of course, after the white flag, the next flag ends the race. So I think NASCAR did the right thing there. Very happy about that. And it almost looked like we were just going to have more wrecks. Eric Almirola appeared to cut down a tire. He was sparking pretty good. Brad Keselowski was leading at the time. He got out just way too far, and that allowed a couple of Roush Fenway teammates to team up on him, and Ryan Reed and Chris Buescher, and they were able to blow past him and battle it out for the lead themselves. This is why I love Daytona. You get underdog stories. Ryan Reed able to come across victorious, led 14 laps overall in the race. He gets his first NASCAR Nationwide Series win. He's 21 years old. It's going to be very interesting to see now this race. And Kevin Harvick said it on the broadcast, and Kevin Harvick did a really good job too, by the way, as an analyst for that race for Fox Sports 1. And this race can definitely lift you. It can definitely lift your career. It can do amazing things for your career. So it'll be interesting to see what Ryan Reed can do. I think he's a very, very talented race car driver. So congratulations to him on getting his first NASCAR Nationwide Series win. And it couldn't happen at a better place in Daytona. And he will always be known as a driver who won the first ever NASCAR Xfinity Series race. So, I'm not going to go through points today because we already had so much to talk about, and I don't like to make these videos run too long. Plus, it's just the first race of the year, so I'll start going over points next week after the Atlanta race. But we can go through the starting lineups or the finishing order. At this time, it is still unofficial, and I'm trying to get the rest. I've got it's the page has stopped running for me, of course, so I apologize. All right, here we go. 40th, Dexter Bean. 39th, Daniel Suarez. Like we said, he had that good run going and then just had a bunch of issues afterwards. Ryan Sieg, Scott Legacy Jr., 37th. Chad Boat, 36th. Regan Smith, 35th. Justin Marks, 34th. John West Townley, 33rd. Joey Gaze, 32nd. Landon Castle, 31st. Cale Conley, 30th. Brendan Gaughan finishes the day in 29th. Chase Elliott, defending Nationwide Series champion or Xfinity Series champion now, finishes 28th, 9 laps down after his issues. JJ Yeley, 27th. He had a tough day. He had a good day going up until the accident. Kyle Busch finishes 26th. Brian Scott, 25th. Mike Harmon, 24th. Josh Ream, 23rd, 22nd, Derek White, 21st, Chris Cockrum, Blake Cook, 20th, Elliott Sadler, 19th, Eric Jones, 18th, Eric McClure, 17th, Jeffrey Earnhardt, 16th, Mario Goslin, 15th, Jeremy Clements, 14th, Mike Wallace finishes 13th, Darrell Wallace finishes 12th, 11th, Dakota Armstrong, 10th, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 9th, a good run for Ross Chastain, 8th, Kyle Larson, 7th, Eric Almirola, 6th, David Starr, 5th, Brad Keselowski, 4th, Austin Dillon, 3rd, Ty Dillon, 2nd, Chris Buescher, and of course, Ryan Reed, as we said, gets the win. But that's what's so great about Daytona. You look at these names that normally probably aren't going to be up towards the front in the equipment that they're in. You look at the David Starrs and the Ross Chastains and the Mike Wallaces and even the Jeremy Clements, Mario Goslins. There was only 9 cars on the lead lap and not many cars without damage. So for a good chunk of the race, it was just a clean race, and then it turned into beating and banging, and what else can you say? It turned into restrictor plate racing, and there really is nothing like it. So, like I said, if we get any updates on Kyle Busch, I will post them on Twitter or on Facebook. I have been tweeting. I did tweet and will attempt to continue to tweet during races. So go ahead and like us or follow us on Twitter and like the Channel Sports page on Facebook. Links, as always, will be in the description. You know I'd find a way to stick that in there somehow. The next time the Nationwide Series is on the track will be next Saturday, February 28th, 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Fox Sports 1, the Hisense 250. So the Hisense 250 is their next race. Like I said, at Atlanta next week, Fox Sports 1, 2 o'clock Eastern Time. Unlike what I did for Daytona, I will have entry lists and stuff for races. Daytona is just really hard to do because it's such a busy week. So, starting with Atlanta, I will have entry lists and stuff for the Camping World Truck Series when they race again, the Nationwide Series, and of course, the Sprint Cup Series. Speaking of the Camping World Truck Series, I did not get an opportunity to watch the truck race, therefore I did not get an opportunity to do a recap of the truck race, and so for that I apologize. I will start with their next race, which isn't for a little while yet before they go again. So, one thing I do want to say, actually, first of all, I will say this: they don't. I take that back. I was wrong. The trucks actually are usually off the second week of the year, but they are not. It's a triple header next week at Atlanta. So Saturday, February 28th is the Hyundai Construction Equipment 200 on Fox Sports 1. So, and then they get a bit of a break. So, truck racing next week, nationwide racing next week, and cup racing next week. But of course, we have the Daytona 500 first. Now, here's my little rant quick, and then I am going to get out of here. It is 2015. I know I'm echoing some stuff that a lot of drivers have said. It is 2015, though. Every track should have safer barriers. And that just wasn't the case. Obviously, in some parts of the Daytona and some tracks, and it cost Kyle Busch. There is no need for there not to be safer barriers at a track. Like I said, it's 2015, and especially Daytona, the mecca of all racing. They should be up on that. Tracks should be up on that. We shouldn't be racing on tracks that don't have safer barriers anymore. And hopefully, after this wreck, that stops. And the tracks that don't have safer barriers, put them in, or at least put them in places that you don't already have them. Alright, guys, that is going to do it for me. This one was a little bit mumble jumbled. Hopefully, the Daytona 500 recap will be better. That is tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. If you like this, if you like NASCAR, go ahead and give me a sub. I do pay a lot of attention to it. That is going to do it for me. I am Jonathan What's Up for JM Sports 100 and the JM Sports Show, and I will see you guys later.